Hello, I'm going to do a tutorial for you on how to replace existing products on an image with new products. So if the product is retired in the image, you still really like that image, you just want to update that old chunk for a new chunk or that old BFYHC for a new one, you can do that, especially easy if it's on a white background. Alright, so I use a program called GIMP, and it's a free image editing software that you can download. It's kind of like Photoshop, but free. It's not the most user-friendly program, but it does have a lot of functionality, and I've used it for several years, so that's why I choose to use this. It does have a Mac version or a Windows version. Unfortunately, it does not have an app for Android or iPhone devices right now. So you wouldn't be able to use this on your phone or your tablet. You'd have to actually use a PC or a Mac for it. To download it, you go to gimp.org, GIMP.org, and then you just download it. Like I said, I've used this for a long time. I really do appreciate the functionality of it, and once you get used to it, you can actually do a lot really quickly with this. So, download that. Alright, I'm going to open mine up. When you open up the program, it looks like this. These two things might be separate here, but you can drag them together. I like to have all my tools just in one line like this. So this will be your toolbox here. These are all the different tools. These are your options for whatever tool you're using at that time. Over on this side are your layers. And that's because you're layering different parts of the image on top of each other. You can put them together, you can take them apart, you can do a bunch of different things with them. And I certainly haven't learned every functionality of this program. A lot of it I just learned by messing around with it. As long as you save things correctly, you can screw it up and just go back to where you started and not be any the worse for the wear. Okay, so I saved a graphic that I want to update. It has a couple of current products, but it also has some outdated products. So I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to find my saved graphic. It's going to be in my Posh folder. Just as a side note, I use a USB drive to save all my Posh graphics. That way, when I have to change laptops, which I just did, I still have all of my graphics. I don't have to go through and resave. Alright, so this is just telling you that it uses a different color scheme, or that something with the colors has been embedded, and I always just tell it to convert. It does a really good job of doing that. Okay. So this is the graphic that I want to update. So the rehab is retired. So I'm going to get rid of that. And our Zit Zapper has a new look. So I'm going to change the look on the Zit Zapper. And instead of rehab, I'm going to put that new cooling stick. Oh, excuse me. That new cooling stick there instead. So I come over here and I select the box. And I'm going to draw a box over the thing I want to get rid of. Alright, so I just used my mouse to drag that box around it. I'm going to go to Edit, and I want to fill that space with just plain white background. Right now my colors on my workspace are black and white. You can change that by just clicking on the color you want to change. You can select the color. Right here, Posh gives us this cool little handbook that tells us the color codes for the colors that they use in their branding. You can enter the color code and it'll give you an exact match. That's how I ended up with this exact blue that Posh uses, and this exact blue-green that Posh uses, and this kind of orangey color that Posh uses. And because I just got a new laptop, I don't have the Posh pink saved in here yet, and I probably should. I will get that done. So let me do that right now just to show you how you do it. Alright. I saved a screenshot of the branding colors. Most of our team groups have the branding brochure in the files section, so you all have access to this information. So right here are the color codes for all the different colors in the Posh branding. Up here is the pink color code, this E2477D. So right here, I'm just going to type E2477D. Hit enter. Hit OK. And there she is, Posh Pink, right here. Over on the left-hand side of my screen, you can see it there. All right, Posh Pink is now saved in my workspace. Okay, back to what I was doing. I have my box selected around the rehab since I'm getting rid of that. Edit, fill with background color because I want it white. Look, it's gone. I see whoever made this graphic has a little line here that I want to get rid of. I'm going to select my pencil. Now, if I start drawing now, it draws in that Posh Pink. I want the white. So I use this little double arrow to tell it to switch the order of the colors. And now I'm just going to use my pencil to draw over that white line. It's gone. All right, Zit Zapper. I just want to get rid of the product section right here. I don't want to get rid of the text. So my box. And I got a little too close there. Oop. Let's do it again. What I was going to show you is that you can use this corner section to adjust the size of your box once you do it. All right, again, edit, fill. All right, those are gone. Now I need to grab the graphics that I want to fill in. All right, so I come back to my internet workspace and I'm just going to go to my Posh website. And I did it wrong. Oh, it was nice to see me come up on my internet search though. All right, I'm going to the products. I wanted to grab that Zit Zapper first because this is the easier change. So it's in specialty products. There she is. Click on the product to open it up. And we have these cute graphics. I just want the plain one with the white background. So I click on that and then I just right click and save it. Now I have a special folder in my graphics for our spring summer products. And I'm going to save that. Now while I'm here, I might as well go ahead and grab the new cooling stick while I'm here. And I don't see an apothecary tab on there anymore, and I don't know which heading they've put it under yet. I need to do a little familiarizing myself with the new categories. Again, I'm going to click on it. I don't want the one with all this stuff that I would have to cut out. I just want the one with the white background. All right, those are saved. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, this morning I am just... All right, now I can just click on my GIMP thing and bring it back up. Let me get that background out of the way for you. All right, File, Open. Now I need to go find that folder that I saved those in. Spring Summer 17. There we go. Now I'm going to open up that Zit Zapper. I know it started with an FF. There it is. Okay. Now, up at the top of my graphic, it shows me the dimensions in pixels of how large my graphic is. This whole graphic is 940 by 788. Over here, the images from our website almost always save at 1,000 by 1,000. So obviously if I copy and paste this right on, this is going to be bigger than this whole graphic. So I need to resize this. Go to Image, choose Scale Image. Now this is a little bit of trial and error to get the right size. Nope, too small. All right. Ooh, sorry about that. Undo select. Oh. Undo scale. All right. Let's try again. Image, scale image. Let's try 300 this time. The good thing is if I was replacing a bunch of products, once I learn that scaling, I don't have to do all this trial and error every single time. So to copy and paste it onto, from this box, this workspace, onto this workspace, I just right click, go to edit, select copy, click on this workspace, right click, select edit, click paste. And that looks pretty good. That's going to work. But when I put it down in this space, there's all that white. That's not going to work. So I just hit delete because I haven't flattened it down onto my workspace yet. It just deletes right off. I'm going to come back to this and I'm going to crop out some of this extra white. So this little tool over here on the left that looks kind of like an X-Acto knife, you click on that and then you're just going to right click and drag your box around the part of your image that you want to keep. And if you mess it up, these little boxes here allow you to adjust. So I have a pretty narrow space, so I want to get as much of that white off as I can. Now, if this had a different color background that didn't match the image, the graphic that I'm working on, I could cut all the white out, and I will show you how to do that. We're just not going to do it on this one. All right, so I right click, edit, copy, click over here on my workspace, edit, paste. Now, it didn't put it where I want it to go. So I come back over here to the left and I select this arrow directional tool. It has these 4 arrows pointing in all the directions. Click on that, and then I can just right click and drag my graphic to where I want it to be. All right, I like it right there, maybe a little higher. Okay, right there. Now, you can see that this box is moving, basically. That means it's a box of an item that has not been flattened down onto this image. To flatten it down, because I like where it is and I don't want to mess it up, I come over here to the right hand side where I have my layers. And this is my floating selection. That's why it's got the moving lines. If I hold this up right here, just watch where my mouse goes here, this box, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose to anchor the layer. And then you can see that that mobile box has moved. I can't move it. If I move it, it moves the whole graphic. All right. So that one's done. That was easy peasy. Now we have to do the muscle stick, the cold muscle stick. Oh my gosh, my brain is just going. All right, so I need to find that graphic. So I go to I went to File and Open, and there it is. All right, let's say that I wanted to get rid of the background. There's a few things that I could do to do that. Sometimes, select. And I want to select by color and click on white. The problem is there's a white background, but there's also white in my image that I want to keep. That's not going to work. So, undo. So if your background is a completely different color than any of the colors in your image, you can do that and just select. What I would do is select the white background and then invert that so that it was actually selecting my object, and then I could copy and paste just the object. It would get rid of the whole white background and I would just copy and paste the object. I'll try and find a graphic that's good for that in another tutorial so that I can show you. Okay, so the other way I have to just get this product and not the white background is to use my freeform select. So over here on the left, it's this little lasso looking tool. And when I click on the edges of the product, pretty straight products are really easy to do this. When it has a lot of curves, it's a little harder. I like to select a lot of data points for it just because I find it looks less choppy that way. Like I said, the straight edges are pretty easy. When I go around these little rounded corners, it's a little harder. All right, now when I copy and paste, it's just going to copy and paste the things inside the floating lines. So I've essentially gotten rid of this whole background, including this little shadow, and just have the Just Chilling stick. All right, but I'm still going to have to resize it. So image, scale image, and I remember that the Zit Zapper we went to 300, so that's a great place to start. Edit, copy, edit, paste. All right, let's see. Does that look pretty close? Not close at all. So I want it bigger. So it's still the floating image, so I can just hit my delete button. Come back over, image, scale image. Let's try 400. Woo. Select a different tool there. Edit, copy, edit, paste. So it's a lot of the same, and that's too big. So I think we want somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to go with 350. Honestly, this trial and error for resizing is probably the most time-consuming part. And that's pretty close. We're going to go with that. There we go. Just pick a spot that it looks pleasing. And if you remember that training that Holly did on the photos, where you divide your image into thirds, our main graphics are kind of falling right in there. It's all kind of, I don't know, there's just something about the way the eye looks at things that's helpful. Okay, so that's there. So now I can get rid of that. I'm just going to discard the changes. I don't want to save it resized or anything. If I need it later, I may need it to alter it differently. And even though it's a white background, you can kind of see that it just brought our graphic over. Now, I don't have the ability to make one of these cool little arrows. What am I going to do? Well, there's one right here that I like, and it's going to be going the right direction for me. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to come up over here to my toolbox over here on the left, use my square tool, and put a box around the arrow. Once it's floating like that, I can right click, edit, copy. Make sure you copy, not cut. If you cut it, it'll take it off the screen there. Edit, paste. Now there's a second one there. You can't tell because it's on top of each other. But if I move it over, you can use this arrow select tool here. Move it over. And I like it there. Maybe, yeah, I guess they're pretty even down on the bottom. Right there. Okay. Again, it's the floating selection. I like where it is. I don't want to move it later. So I come over and I hover over this space next to the eyeball. When that box comes up, I right click and tell it to anchor. Sometimes it'll say anchor, sometimes it says merge down. They both kind of do the same thing. Here's where I've got a problem. I have no idea what font they used. So I have two options. I can put white boxes over all of these and use a font of my choice and retype it all so that it's all consistent, or I can get as close as I can and hope it looks pretty okay. Kind of leaning towards redoing the text because I don't think that my program has this font. So that means I'm going to have to write all of this down and redo it. How am I going to do that? Well, first I'm not going to write it all down. I'm going to open up a second copy of that graphic that already has it written for me. Woo. There it is. All right. I don't need to write it all down there. It's going to be right here for me. So I've got the one that I'm editing and the one that I'm not editing. So now I'm going to put white boxes over the existing text. And this is the same process we used before. Edit, fill with white. And then I can just come down and create another box. Edit, fill. And another box. And that one's just a little too close to that for me, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Edit, fill. Bye-bye text. See how easy that is to get rid of the stuff that you don't want? All right. Now this letter here, this letter A, is my font selection tool. And there are, I need this a little wider. There are a ton of fonts to pick from. And I don't know why it's there. It went. Usually when you click on that box, it just drops down. I don't know why it's not doing that for me. Hello? Why is this being stubborn? Okay, I'm not crazy. You all saw that come up with the option to drop down. Anyway, there's a ton of text options to choose from. I want sans bold for the item object names. Okay, so with this text tool, I draw a box that I'm going to write my text inside. And my text color is white. It always picks this color that's right here. I want black. So click on that color box, choose the color you want instead. I wonder if our video tutorial is why this is being so stubborn. Let me close some things, see if it... Yeah, it's blinking funny on me. What is its problem? Alright, I am going to stop this video, and I'm going to do a part 2 to finish up, just because I think this video is getting a little long, and I think my computer's not liking that. So, I will be back in just